Welcome into the DNVR Buffs Podcast presented by Illegal Pete's. Check out any of their 10 Colorado locations. Happy hour, 3 to 6 p.m. every single day.
Set
Jake
change.
Schwanitz. Set change. We're right where it's happening, where it goes down, man. In the recruiting lounge, Jake Schwanitz, RK, Uncle Neely joining the show, man. So glad to have you on, man. We're really excited. Appreciate you taking the time today.
Man, I could not imagine doing anything else right now but being with you guys. And that opening you just did, I know that wasn't your first time doing it.
Yes,
like you nailed that.
Done it quite a bit, yeah, man.
And thanks for the set change.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks for coming to me.
So Neely runs the place, apparently.
Yeah.
We walked in, and I told him, nah, they don't really like us normal media just walking around in here. He's like, nah, you're with me. You're good. I'm like, all
We're
right,
home.
let's go. So that's how we ended up in here.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show, man.
Of course, man. I guess we just start with this then. How's the transition been for you coming from Jackson to Colorado to Boulder?
So have you ever seen that little dog that chases cars?
Yes.
Imagine catching it. And then it's like, okay, what do I do with it now? I got this bumper. I did not realize there was 2 tons attached to it. What do I do with it? We've been, drinking out of fire hydrant, man. But it has been like a labor of love. There's something new every day. Introducing, Coach Prime, a lot of the coaches and personalities that he brought from Mississippi here with him, and kind of just exposing people to what you're gonna get used to. And believe me, it's coming. Like when he says we coming, it's coming. It's hard to put into words what the transition has been like because I've seen what it's been like. I saw how he changed Jackson and Jackson State, and I can see that happening here. Not only within the football building, but all the way out into the community as well.
When you heard the Coach Prime to Colorado rumors, were you expecting to be sitting here a few months later?
Yes and no. With our relationship, I was not surprised he extended the invitation. But I will tell you, when I first started hearing the rumors, I didn't know if Colorado would be a reality just simply because of the weather. Like, this is a guy, Florida boy, as he'll tell you, but at Jackson State, if it was 45 degrees when practice was going to start and it was going to be 55 2 hours later, he would move practice, 2 hours back because he just doesn't do the cold. But he took this challenge and this responsibility on sight unseen. Never came experiencing weather. As he says, God led him here, and so I wasn't surprised that he accepted it. But then when it was in the rumor mill, I didn't have Colorado as number one just because of the weather or what I thought the weather was like.
I sent out a tweet. I was standing down there, last game of the season, and it was what, like 60 that day? It was.
It was nice.
Yeah, it was, almost December. I sent out a tweet. I said, I heard Coach Prime doesn't like the cold. Last game of the season, 60 degrees. Like, gotta come.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of folks in Colorado watch your show, and I know a lot of folks around the world watch your show. You got on a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Got on a hoodie. And it's 20-something today, but I tell people back home all the time, it's a different 20. Like, 25 in Colorado is like our 45.
Oh, yeah.
And so you just don't need big coats or anything. You can walk around pretty easily here.
Yeah, as long as you avoid the wind, which it's usually not windy. When it does get windy, that's when it's cold. Other than that, and then...
Amen. Because I got caught in the wind one time. And I was like, maybe it is really cold here.
Yeah. Yesterday, I think, was the first day, though, where it was warm without needing to be sunny.
Yeah.
And that's when we know we're home free. We're close. It's about to heat up.
And I was jealous because I was checking the weather leading up to my trip back out here, and I saw 63 and sunny. And then saw the next day 23 and cloudy. It's like, how did I miss it?
But then the day after, we're back at the 60.
And one thing about the weather here, it's going to change.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like in the same day, you can leave the hotel, it's 25, and lunchtime is 65. And then you go home, it's back 25. Like, you're going to get all the temperatures in one day.
Yeah.
I love it.
Everyone's dad has said, if you don't like the weather in Colorado, just wait 10 minutes. It's like a classic out here.
Yeah. That's a good dad joke, because it's true.
Yeah.
Did you spend time in Colorado before you came here with Coach Prime?
I'd only been here once before in my life. And now, have been here too many times to count.
Yeah.
But a lot of nights in Colorado.
Yeah.
So my immersion to it was with him.
How is the transition going for you? You're still living in Jackson. You're coming out here. Like, what's the plan? How are things going?
Going good. I'm ramping up, as they would say in the military, getting the logistics in order. So December, January, February is doing about a week to 10 days. April through the spring game, I'll be here about 2 weeks at a time. But by the time we get to July and August camp in the season, I mean, I'm here, because it's football season. It's football time. As Coach Brett Bartolone says, it's football time. So now we're just kind of coming out, getting content, learning the lay of the land, working with Coach Prime and his schedule. So it's really not a, 31 days in a month need to be here. But this summer, we're going to be here.
Have you had the opportunity to kind of soak in like what all of this means to the community here? So I was telling this to Darius yesterday, like we were down bad, down bad.
Yeah.
And overnight, like hope just came back. And from my experience, just seeing the community, like it's so cool to just see like you flip a switch and everyone's back in.
The short answer to that is a yes, because I saw it in Jackson, and I see so much that's coming that the community does not realize it's coming yet. Like before you even get to the football season, it's going to be a very common thing to see celebrities walking down the street in Boulder because they're in town to see Coach Prime. And just friends of his, not even football stuff.
Yeah.
Like when it gets into camp, you're going to have, a Nick Newton or Warren Sapp show up or a T.O. show up, but just normal day-to-day behavior. You're sitting at BJ's or something, and I think that's Denzel Washington up there. But he's in town just to see his buddy Coach Prime. Because you know how it is when guys are in football mode, they can't move around as a lot, so a lot of his friends come see him. And so I think the community is in for a surprise of how the energy is going to change the closer we get to football season, and how more and more folks will be here, and the economic impact of that. There's not going to be a hotel room available. There's not going to be a seat at the bar available. You're going to sell out of T-shirts. If there's somebody out there with a daiquiri shop, I'm telling you right now, make you a 21-ounce black and gold daiquiri. You got to embrace Coach Prime being here, because it's going to be it's the alien ship that they say landed in Roswell, New Mexico. It changed Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah.
There's a guy selling coffee mugs.
Right.
It's a millionaire. I haven't seen the alien. You haven't
He
seen
went to school there. Not in Roswell.
Albuquerque.
But you see like the driver.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what you have here now. You got a unicorn.
Right.
You have someone that there's literally nobody else like him in the world. And he's now in Boulder. And the ripple effect of his presence, you can't calculate it. And that's all before we play a football game.
Right.
You look at the spring game now. You got national champions. You got programs like Alabama. You got people like LSU. But Colorado is the only spring game televised by ESPN. Why?
Alabama's on at the same time, and they're throwing them on ESPN Plus.
For a program that hasn't played a game under the new coach.
Yep. That went 1-11 last year.
1-11 last year. Yeah. Like it's the Prime effect, and you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg of it.
I think you just broke a rule. I said no more 1-11.
Nah, my bad.
No, I don't want to sit here, and you didn't ask. I don't want to sit here and make predictions, but this program is going to be exponentially better than years past, because of him. Yep. His assistant coaches, his support staff, the players he brings in, what he's going to demand out of the players that remained from past seasons at the school. It's going to get better. It's going to get better fast. This is not like a rebuilding process. This is a now.
And there's little things that I obviously expected, the recruiting impact and things like that. But the closer you see and the more you see, you just notice little things like you see those workouts, man. And like it sounds like you're unserious about it, but I'm totally serious. They work out differently.
Yeah, they do.
Because I think everyone feels that something's happening.
Yeah.
And if you aren't part of it, then you're getting left behind.
Well, look who is over it. Not only Deion Sanders at the top and all that he brings to the table. Mo Sims was at Georgia.
Yep.
Georgia has won national championships with an S. They go to Jackson State and go 2 years back-to-back undefeated in conference and win conference championships with that strength and conditioning program. So they're not like guessing, like they know what they're doing. You're going to be better than you were last year.
I want to know more about Uncle Neely, the man.
All right.
First off, where does the nickname Uncle Neely come from?
Tolly Carr with HBCU Game Day. He and I fought it. I fought. It's like I'm not referring to myself as that. And he kept calling me that over and over, show after show. And then the comments just took over. And I said, you know what? Let me ride this wave, man. This why ice skate uphill? Let me just go with the flow. And so Uncle Neely it is. And in hip hop culture, man, it's a compliment.
Oh yeah.
When a guy is like older than you but still cool. So he's not like your dad, with the dad jokes. He's like, yeah, I mean, that's the OG, that's Unc. That's Uncle Neely. So players at Jackson State were calling me Unc and Uncle Neely, and now players here are doing it, so I just ride with it.
I love it. How did you end up here? What was the path?
Did y'all see the movie The Jerk? If you haven't seen the movie The Jerk, go watch it. Because The Jerk opens up with Steve Martin, and he says, and Steve Martin's a white guy. Mm-hmm. He opens up and he says, I was born a poor black child down in Mississippi. And then the movie rolls. So when people ask me where something starts, I was born in Mississippi. Like, it started like literally with women's basketball. I am a huge basketball fan. I used to coach basketball. Worked with the women's basketball program at Jackson State. Coach Prime was coming in and they reached out and it's like, hey, we need an alum that got a nose and lay of the land to help players transition. And they said, oh, Neely be a great guy. Like, he's a friend of the program, support sports. And we were just developing the pregame show as far as covering Jackson State athletics. And these things just blended in. And actually met Shedeur before I met Coach Prime as far as a deeper conversation relationship. Took off from there. Coach Prime saw the product that we were doing. And, because we had that spring COVID season that everybody kind of went through, just meandered. 1 week you got a game, 1 week you don't. So we were steady putting out content. Unbeknownst to me, he was watching, because we do a live show during the game. We're pregame. Mm-hmm. So coaches don't see it. But he was watching it after the games. And he called me up out the blue and said, man, I see what you're doing. I want to put a stamp on it. I want to bring you inside so you can show a deeper, meaningful look at how this program really operates. That was late March of 2021. And here we are, mid-March of 2023, 2 years later, and we're in Colorado.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Obviously, you talked about it. You don't live here right now. What is life like for you outside of Coach Prime, outside of Colorado right now?
There is no life outside of Coach Prime.
I can relate.
He called me the night before last. We're on the phone 45 minutes. Like even when you're not here, you're here. He is engaged and always wants feedback and is giving assignments, things to work on while you're not here, things to do that you have a to-do list when you get back. As far as like we're instituting some media training for the players, so when they start doing their interviews. So there's always something, but life back at home, man, is still working on Shedeur Sanders, Coach Prime projects and getting content out. So when I'm here, much like his documentary that he did with Amazon Prime, you're filming all the time. And then you're putting it out kind of staggered. And because some of the material is not dated as far as what's being discussed, like you talk about the workout. Mm-hmm. You may see it on Tuesday, but it was filmed 2 Tuesdays ago.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff that we keep in-house that he just uses for in-house purposes because you don't want to give away the competitive advantage. So some of the defensive staff meetings or offensive staff meetings we sit in on, we show you enough that you'll see what's being discussed, but you're not going to see the play. You're not going to see the coach drawing it out, and when we say this, it means that. Because we got ball to play. Mm-hmm. So there's this fine line of he wants us to show the world what we're doing, but also, all right, now you can't let him in the coach staff meeting.
And he just trusts you with that, right? Like he's not watching the videos before they go out.
Here's the thing that I loved about my growth with him. Once upon a time, when we were filming stuff in Jackson State's locker room, there was a rule from him. Send it to me before you put it out. And there would be an edit suggestion, because a lot of people forget, man, 14 years in the NFL, but that 14 years in broadcasting NFL Network.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So he'll say, I'll change this angle. Next time, shoot it from this way. Like, he's immersed in it. So you find yourself submitting him things 2 years ago, and you go from 20 do difference, 15 do difference, 5 do difference. Then he finds that one thing just because he's going to find something, and then it's none, and then you don't have to run it by him anymore. He trusts you. I know what you're doing. You know what I expect. You know what I want to, how I want to look and feel. Run with it. So now it's open season. Open doors. Like, just I trust you. It's yours. Do it.
Love that.
You were a former player at Jackson State, weren't you?
No. They have this thing in college football. It's a strange, I don't know why, but you have to have talent. They look for that. And I was a little low on the talent.
Oh, okay.
So always just been like a supporter of JSU athletics. My grandmother literally was the dorm mom for the football dorm at Jackson State. My mother was over public relations for 25 years at Jackson State. So I've always grown up in the athletic storytelling business of just college sports. But other than taking a picture, never put a helmet on and hit somebody. Like, you got to have talent.
Yeah.
I one blessed with that.
Well, we're in the same boat on that one, man. What inspired you to get into content creation, though? You've only been doing this a few years, as you said. But.
Yeah, it started off just as a hobby, something you spend your personal time doing. Like, I don't miss football games. And I didn't miss out on the chance to, at the time, blog about it, or, these message boards. I'm dating myself, where people just going back about what they think, And then that just evolved into video content. And like I said, we were doing it before Coach Prime's arrival at Jackson State. And so it kind of coincided, these two things merged, his presence and our content. And when he's put his stamp on it, there's no looking back. It's like, I even told him once before, and this is while, we were at Jackson State season 1 or something. I said, man, you could leave tomorrow and you could say, I can't come with you, but you can never take away what I've learned in video and content creating. Like, this is a skill set that I had and developed and grew like under his tutelage, because again, that 14 years in broadcasting, he knows what he's doing. This is the guy who was at the Super Bowl talking to Marshawn Lynch and got him to say, I'm just about that action boss.
Yeah.
Like he knows what he's doing. And so when people walk through this building and see him point to this, change that light, I want this look, I want this feel, he's way more than a coach.
I asked this to Darius yesterday, but I want to ask you as well. People that don't know Coach Prime, and the people who I call haters, say he's all about himself. And it's an odd thing to me, because now that I've seen Coach Prime a little bit closer, I feel as though that couldn't be further from the truth.
It is the furthest thing from the truth. Like, he is very much concerned about bringing people up. Yep. One of the rubs in that is you're dealing with a guy who was the best ever at what he did. It is without debate that he's the best cornerback to ever play college football, ever play pro football. It's debatable whether he's the best pro football player ever. He's always in people's top 5 or top 3. The number 1 may flip for him, Jim Brown, but he's always in the conversation. Most of us don't get to work with somebody like that on a day-to-day basis. Their standards are different. He is a Hall of Famer for a reason. And when he doesn't see Hall of Fame effort out of you, he just has a certain standard that's non-negotiable. But he really does use the light that's on him to shine it to other people. And you won't see anybody around him that does not progress after being around him. I mean, we were 60 days in, and a coach from here is already with the Vikings.
Yeah.
Same thing happened at Jackson State. The strength and conditioning coach 2 months in went to the NFL. You're going to see, and that's part of the storytelling I want to capture here, his coaching tree, which is still developing its roots. Watch these branches in the next 10 years. Yep. You're going to see GAs on this staff, be head coaches at mid-majors within a 10-year window, just because they worked here for him. And because he puts the light that's on him on them. And so he's not about himself, he's about other people.
And with Coach Hill, I think a lot of people could have had an idea in their head that Coach Prime would be mad about that, and you saw the video, he's hugging him, he's loving on him, like excited for him.
Yeah.
And I feel like that there's a big difference there between.
Huge difference. If I was to walk in that office right now, because he literally is right behind us, and say, hey, I got a call, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to Sports Center. Not only would he celebrate and say, let's do a video, unbeknownst to me, he called Sports Center and told them how good I was. Like he wants the best for people around him. And you will see things that he will do for this program and this community that have nothing to do with winning a football game. Like, he changes the environment.
I mean, we talked a lot about Coach Prime and the staff.
Yeah.
Who was kind of your favorite coach on this staff to talk to? I mean, we've seen you do a lot of content with Coach Pollock.
Yeah.
It seems like you guys hit
Man,
it
there's so many personalities. You asked a good one in. I'll tell you who it is, and you don't see a lot of them. It's going to be Dennis Thurman. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dennis D.T. Thurman. He was defense coordinator at Jackson State, and he's quality control here. But you're talking about a guy who played, Southern Cal and played for the Cowboys. He is old school, and he has a story that goes along with all of his football life. The tough part, though, is just getting him on the camera. I finally got him on the camera at Jackson State. We did like a 15-minute interview. He's like, all right, that's it, never again. And just today at lunch, I was like, DT, I heard you telling stories about your time in L.A. with Bus Cook and his suite at the Forum. Mm-hmm. He's like, I got to get on the camera. Nope, can't do it. But when y'all get to know him, like he's a cool dude. He's got this Luke Gossett, Shaft vibe about him. He has the great stories. Coach, of course, Coach Hart. And Pollock, they're some good yarn spinners, man. And don't sleep on Coach Kelly from Alabama. Yeah, he's got a lot of them.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of genuine stories, from the Saban days in Florida State that he could tell you. And then I got to throw in Brewster, man. Coach Tim Brew, like you don't have to give him notice. Mm-mm. Like I can just pull the camera out and say, "Give me some brew," and he's gonna rant for 5 minutes, And then when he cuts it off, he's like, "How's that?" It's like, "It's perfect." He's like, "What are you talking about? You nailed it once again." Yeah. So you can't miss. You can't miss.
Coach Kelly, I found it interesting that you brought him up because he's such a good recruiter, but he doesn't do the Brewster thing. Like when you see Brew, you're like, "Oh, I get it." Yeah. He's so energetic. He walks into a room, he fires a kid up, and says, "Come on. We're going to Colorado," and they're like, "All right, yeah, you're right." I'm trying to figure out what it is about Coach Kelly like that makes him
I think that's the beauty of this staff that Coach Prime has put together. They are all alike in the sense that they're driven champions, but they got different approaches. Like you said, I mean, Brew and Kelly are like night and day.
Yeah.
But they're going to get the kid. Mm-hmm. With two totally different approaches. One walks in the room, he's in there. The other walks in, you got to look for him. Right. It's like a silent assassin, and and the guy who he's here. But he's really, Coach Prime has put together a staff of so much diversity, and that's not just in race and age, but in philosophy and how they go about things, and they learn how to navigate together. But Coach Kelly is just as, if not more, effective than Coach Brew, but they have two totally different styles.
It's pretty cool.
Two totally different styles.
I asked Darius this question yesterday, just about these recruiting weekends that happen here, just how crazy they seem just from your guys' videos.
Yeah.
Could you give us a little behind the scenes look or
here's the story? Here's the beauty of it. Like you're seeing all of it.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing behind that. When it comes to those visits, like you're getting it all. There is it is energetic. They bring the cars out for the photo shoots. What I love though, because I'm really a nuts and bolts football guy, is you're sitting down again with Coach Kelly, and he's got Slusher in on a visit, and he's literally breaking down plays of where he can be impact or better impact had he done it this way.
Yeah. Showing Derwin James.
Yeah. So like that part of it, you're like, man, how can this kid say no to that? Because I'm giving you something on how we're going to utilize you here, but I ain't mad at you if you take it and utilize it wherever you're going, because I want you to be the best you can be. And what I'm going to show you is a breakdown that I did on you to show you how you could be better. And then when they come sit in this room with Coach Prime, with that view, like it's over. It's over. How do you, other than your concerns about the weather, how do you say no to that?
I truly don't know, because I certainly didn't.
I didn't either.
Speaking of, you said you're a nuts and bolts football guy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some football.
All right.
I want to start with Shedeur.
Yeah.
What makes him so special?
All right. So let me tell you some background on this. Jack State guy. Love Jack State football long. Coach Prime was announced that he was coming to Jack State. That was September 21st, 2020. Just so happened that Trinity, their high school, was playing a team in Clarksdale High School, about a 2-hour drive from Jackson. I said, you know what? I got to go see this. Like, I want to make sure this ain't no daddy ball taking place. You know, head coach, my son's gonna play. I don't care what you think, kind of thing.
We've had that here about it.
I heard. I go up to Clarksdale. I watch this game, and I'm 1 quarter in, and I'm telling the guy with me, like, "Hey man, you ready to ride back?" He's like, "Man, the game not over." It's like, I just said, I need to see.
Yeah.
Like, this dude is not a 5-star. Keep in mind, this is his senior high school. He's not a 5-star because of his last name. Like, there was somebody who said, no, I'm not voting for Sanders to be more than what a Sanders is. Like, the guy has it. And when you look at what he was able to do at Jackson State, you know, he spent that COVID season on the sideline because he graduated high school that December, so he couldn't play in that spring season. And, you know, he and Coach Prime, who happens to be his dad, would tell you, like, man, get us now. You know, because I'm telling you, you're not getting us after this. And lo and behold, after this, we didn't lose a game. Like, undefeated in the SWAC 2 years in a row. And it was because of this freshman quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Like, he is as advertised, his ball control, his processing of the game. I think there were some times he may have held the ball a little longer, and I think all quarterbacks do that because they're waiting on something to develop. And has worked that out of his system. But people are going to be blown away that, all right, well, he just didn't do that at HBC or just do that at the SWAC. Like, he's able to do that no matter who he's playing against because he is that dude.
The haters kind of bring up the fact that, you know, going from JSU to CU, that jump from HBCU to Power 5, that maybe these players aren't ready, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
What is your opinion, though, on these players moving up in level of play?
Well, let me take it from separate ends. Let me deal with the haters first. I would encourage the haters to go back and look at Jackson State's defense the past 2 years and how that defense was number 1 in the nation, not amongst HBCU, mid-majors, the nation. And that's the defense that Shedeur Sanders practiced against every day. I will guarantee you that Jackson State's defense the past 2 years has been better than Colorado's defense the past 2 years.
That ain't hard
Probably
to
not
figure out.
close.
I'm guaranteeing
It's probably
you.
not close.
So you're dealing with a guy who every day plays against a high caliber defense and takes a cerebral process to the game. To the folks who may think that the standard of football in the SWAC or HBCUs is lower, there's the man. That may think is lower, they clearly haven't watched that brand of football. You know, when you look at the NFL and you look at a Michael Strahan, what he accomplished, Texas Southern. You know, you look at what Steve McNair did from Alcorn, and you can go way back to Valley and Jerry Rice and back to Peyton. You know, but this is a conference that put guys in the league and still puts guys in the league, and that's where Shedeur Sanders was. So when he gets here, you're gonna see, like I saw in Clarksdale, Mississippi, ain't no daddy ball. Like the guy that should be starting is starting.
Just on Travis Hunter, then. I mean, he's amazing on the field, but off the field, he's so entertaining, so hilarious. What's it like just kind of working with him?
Mr. Personality.
Yeah.
And it ain't forced. You know, when you talk about Brew and Kelly, that's Shedeur and Travis. Shedeur, totally not a quiet guy, but he comes across that way. You know, because he's quarterback, walks in the room, he's commanding the room, he's not all that talkative until you really get to know him. You're going to know Travis. You know, and part of, I think, what people get twisted on Travis is he looks at times disinterested, or he looks like, you know, why is he standing there dancing? Like, that's how he gets ready. I saw the guy, I'm framing this in my mind. We're standing at the 50-yard line, and it was a kind of boring moment in practice. Coaches were dealing with something else. The guy jumped in the air and turned backflips all the way into the end zone from the 50. And when he got to like the 2, did like a double and landed, and then just sprinted back to the huddle at the 50. Out of boredom. Like, he is a freakishly good athlete. He has a command on both sides of the ball. He's going to play both sides of the ball. And he's another one. Shedeur is as advertised, and I think Travis is not advertised enough. Like, he's greater than what you've heard.
We have a hypothesis that he's going to be playing more wide receiver.
You know, well, when you watch the workout videos, that's who you see him with.
Yeah, that's essentially what we're basing that off.
Yeah.
But Jake's feeling that he's.
But here's the twist. Here's the twist I give it. I got a little different spin on that. He's insanely gifted at both. He can roll out of bed and play corner. He's working on becoming a better receiver. And so you see his focus there because there's I think a greater upside there is what he's going to bring to the table in this offense. So he's getting that, command of it. But at a moment's notice, you can say, hey, try to play corner. And here goes a pick six if you throw it that way.
It's almost like with all that energy that you mentioned, like the challenge of becoming a refined receiver is like a great thing for him to have on his plate.
Yeah. And he's the guy who just stuck his head in is a genius at creating extra value. And he understands that a one-in-a-generation talent like Travis Hunter deserves the opportunity to play both sides of the ball, which only increases his marketability for the future in the NFL because Travis Hunter will play on Sundays. Like there's no doubt about it. Have you seen the dunks in this basketball video?
He's incredible.
He's floating.
Yes. He's still on the way up when he dunks the ball.
Yeah.
Like people dunk on the way down. He's still climbing when he dunks. And he acts like it's nothing. Like he can jump out the gym, his 40 time, his speed, his quickness, lateral movement, the one hand grabs he's done. There was 2 games in Jackson State where Travis scored on both sides of the ball. Pick six and a touchdown. In the bowl game that we end up losing, it was 4th down, 4th quarter.
Oh, yeah.
10 seconds, and Shedeur throws Travis a touchdown pass to take the game in overtime.
Yep.
And
there's another big catch on that drive.
Yeah. And it's like he can go a whole game without playing receiver, going for 3 plays and give you that, or he can play a whole game without playing corner, go in the game at corner and get you that. It is what it is, and you're not going to convince me. Oh, that was just a swag. That was just Jackson State. Okay. All right.
He's a 5-star for a reason.
Throw that way. Yeah. Throw it that way. And watch what he does. If he gets his hands on the ball, he's gone.
Of the guys who you haven't seen play yet, who are you most excited to see out there?
That's hard for me to answer because I'm not familiar with a lot of the names that were here already. And then the other reason, in fairness, as we sit here as guys who do this, we still don't know who this team is going to be this fall. We got about 10 to 15 guys that you like, okay, I can talk to him now because I know he'll be here in August.
Yep.
But the way the landscape of college football works now, I remember Jackson State, we had an impactful player drafted, turned it up at the Detroit Lions, James Houston.
Yep.
As we sat in Jackson this time last year, we didn't know who James Houston was. He was one of those summer portal guys. So you're going to look at, if you think Coach Prime won the transfer portal earlier this year, when it gets to the end of spring ball and people start summer transfers, he's going to do it again. And so there's going to be some additions to this team that are going to be impactful. I haven't talked to him. I don't know him.
Yeah.
But after that spring game and the visits that will take place that weekend and being the only game on TV, we coming.
Yeah.
It's going to get better. So then that's no slight to the guys who were on this team previously and what they bring to the table, because I see a lot of them stepping it up and buying into this new culture.
Yeah.
Where everything is uniform, not showing up with white socks when it's only black socks. Just attention to detail that Coach Prime demands. So there's going to be a lot of names that people knew from the previous team, like, oh man, glad to see he stuck it out.
Yeah.
But there's also going to be a bunch of guys who, in America, you got a right to make your personal decision. Going to be like, I don't think this is for me. This is a different level of ball now.
And I was thinking not only just guys who are here, but also some of the new guys. Like I've been losing my mind over Jimmy Horn lately. Like I think that dude is going to go nuts.
Yes, I can't wait to see him in the return game too. Because I think he's gonna. I think that when you look up and you got a Jimmy Horn back there and a Travis Hunter at the same time. Yeah. Like just kick it out of bounds. Yeah, like what are you gonna kick it to? Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So it's Horn is big. Slusher linebacker. I think there's going to be some impactful plays. Jeremiah Brown's a guy from Jackson State, but he can fly out the edge. He is going to disrupt a lot of the pass game of the opponents. Yeah, he'll be a name to watch. It's some talent out there.
Oh yeah.
You touched on the spring game. You're at Jackson State. I know the homecomings out there are wild. You had game day out there. It was wild too. Can you try and maybe explain what we may experience this spring game?
I can't put it in words. All I can tell you is be ready to not be ready.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to get ready for this. There will be entertainers here. not only to actually entertain, but I'm kicking it with Coach Prime, there won't be an empty seat, particularly from a spring game kind of component, And the fact that ESPN is the only one that's going to show live, on the big network, on ESPN, not ESPN Ocho. Like this is the top ESPN. And you just know, like I don't have this in writing right now, but there is no way College Game Day is not coming here.
Oh, yeah.
It's things like that are going to happen. But this spring game, regardless of weather, regardless of how your knee feels, whatever's taking place, this will be the biggest spring game in college football history, not Colorado history, but college football history. This is going to be a big one.
And I just love that. I think the fans have taken the challenge upon themselves to make sure this place is packed. Like everyone, it's like a full team effort, right? It's on ESPN. Got to pack the house. They're going to put on a show.
And that's the beauty of coach's belief system is like, I don't care what role you play, from a podcast to fans, to custodians in the building. If you touch this program, you have to be a winner because that's what it takes to win. And so the folks who are helping orchestrate the spring game, he's been in meetings with them because he knows production. He knows how the NFL does it. He knows how the NFL Network does it. He knows what it's supposed to look like. And he's going to make it look like that. And it'll be something that Colorado, the Pac-12, and even college football itself has never seen. No one has ever had a spring game like this one is going to be.
Going back to the pregame show, what's kind of the next step for you, for the channel, just here at Colorado, moving forward towards the first season?
Hey, man, great question, because I want you to answer it. I am open to any and everything. I know what worked in previous markets. I know what I like to do. But one of the things I don't have is a historic knowledge of Colorado football. I can tell you everything about these coaches and players because I'm on the inside, but I can't speak about a record 20 years ago or a game.
He's the man, right?
Yeah,
You got my number.
Yeah, and so I'm looking for those kind of partnerships, because I think that kind of information, with this kind of inside information, we can talk about history and similar games and what this coach does and why he calls it this way. I'm open to because I said this to you guys on the elevator. It's like this is not a turf thing,
Absolutely.
We're going to all grow. We're going to look up midway the season, and you're going to be bigger than you were 2 years ago, and I'm going to be bigger than I was 2 years ago, and we can be bigger than that together, because there is no drought of content around here. You're dealing with Deion Sanders. Like right now, we're missing something.
Sorry.
But we're doing something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And they're missing us. So it's like you don't have to worry about it. Just sit tight. Like there's sometimes when I'm at home in Jackson, man, like, oh man, I wish I was there for that. I'm good because I know there's going to be something when I get there.
Right.
Like just sit tight. Like it's coming. Most of his celebrity guests, for instance, is using that as a barometer. It's unannounced. It's like when your buddy pulls up to your house. It's just like sometimes they tell you I'm coming by Friday. Sometimes you say, man, I was in the neighborhood. What you doing?
Yeah.
And you look up and it's Lil Wayne. So it that kind of thing is going to be constant.
That stuff is like, again, I knew Coach Prime was going to come here and win. I knew that, it was going to generate interest. I certainly didn't know how many fans he has of just himself.
Yes.
Like, it's not about Jackson State or Colorado. It's wherever Coach Prime is, that's where I am. I mean, that's a lot of people who are commenting on our videos every day.
Yeah. I think, go ahead, because I was just to get this point. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then on top of that, it's like, I didn't fully grasp the cultural impact. The fact that everyone is friends with Coach Prime.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's not, I don't know, sometimes you see these like celebrity friendships that seem so fake. When someone comes in here and you got the video of it, like that feels like it's a real relationship.
Yeah. And that's where I was going to go. It's like the genuineness of it all. Like it's not shallow. It's not a mile wide, an inch thick. It is a mile deep. There's a lot of substance to it. And I think that's one thing that this community can do differently than the greater Jackson community did is take advantage of that kind of thing. Is that while you have this unicorn, while you got the alien in Roswell, what are some things we can build now? Because transitions happen in life. I don't know if Deion Sanders is going to be here 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years, but we do know this, one day he won't be.
And we know he's here today.
Yeah. And so while you got the unicorn, what do we do with it?
Yeah.
What do we do with it should something happen to the unicorn? We didn't lose out on something. And I think the business community, the tourism people, the Colorado Economic Development Office, all these people outside of football need to be paying attention to the gravitational pull of Deion Sanders, because there will be things coming in here that have nothing to do with football. It's just his relationship. But while you got him in Boulder or in Denver or in Colorado, hey, while you're here, think about this.
Yep.
While you're here, think about that. And that's so much bigger than football, because his impact is bigger than football.
Yep. I mean, you're already seeing, like, seems like a minor thing, but the cultural impact of, like, restaurants serving grits,
Yes.
which is a great thing.
It is a great thing, because I'm a grit eater, but I know the person who distributes grits is happy about it.
Yeah, of course.
That is something that changed, and that's like down here. You know, I know the apparel business for Colorado is out the roof. You know, because people want to wear it now, and it's folks who've never been to college or never been to Colorado. You know, I was looking in the YouTube comments. A guy comments, "Hey, Uncle Neely, I need the link to go buy some gear. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, but I need some stuff."
Yeah.
Like, just because of him, you know.
And as I've always said, everyone looks good in black and gold.
It works for me. It works for me. I've typically been, you know, my fraternity red and white cap, but I'm rocking this black and gold. I like it. Yeah, it has a slimming effect to it.
It does. It does.
Going back to grits, I saw this question in the comments yesterday. Someone wanted to know if you put salt or sugar in your grits.
Neither.
Oh.
Neither. I got into a big debate with Hart because he's a sugar guy. I'm a black pepper, butter, and cheese.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. And I even told the chef downstairs, because, you know, they put the grits in, they put a little cheese in them. He gave the eggs. I said, okay, here's your next step. Put cheese in the eggs.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even Biggie talked about that. You know, Welch's grape cheese eggs.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta put some cheese in the eggs, man. Yeah, we're gonna bring some Southern culture to this thing.
The pregame show.
Yeah.
I assume by the name, it started as simply just a pregame show.
Yes. And there have been other shows called The Pregame Show or Pregame Show. And so to differentiate, we put the in it, because the to us means something bigger than the, like it's preeminent.
Yep.
You know, and then the is also a word that is associated with Jackson State, because in the school song is the I love, and you see people saying that. And so we just connected all those dots, kind of homage to JSU, but also established ourselves as preeminent. Like, it's not just a pregame show, because frankly, in the world of college football, no one had the kind of access that we have. So the was appropriate. And to this day, he has opened the doors, you know. Come on in, man. Show them, do your thing. Show the world what we're doing here.
I love it, because we're thinking on the same lines. We have a podcast called The Denver Sports Podcast, which covers all the teams.
Yeah.
And my whole thought on it was, it's not a Denver Sports Podcast. It's the Denver Sports Podcast.
And have
it's not a pregame show. It's the.
have we ever discussed that before? Right?
No,
now?
we have not.
Yeah. Like, have you been to my family reunion? Have I been to yours?
Not yet.
But yet, we're in agreement on the usage of the word the.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you didn't go to Jackson State.
I did not.
Yeah. But the is what it is, man.
It is.
Yeah, and the's not changing for me, because I think because of his access and what he allows us to do, it always is going to stay above. So we double the E.
Yeah.
It works.
You made hundreds of videos. Which one stands out to you, or maybe a few that stand out to you as your favorite?
This guy and his questions. So one of the things that happens, as you guys know, as you grow your broadcast through your podcast, you have videos that were in the early days that were outstanding, but not a lot of people saw them because you didn't have a lot of subscribers at the time.
Yep.
So some of my favorites are some of the way back wins, you know, which I probably need to start putting those out so people can see some of his personality, you know. But one of my absolute favorites, because it's a story time, and something I did not know, is Coach Prime talking about being signed to Death Row Records. And that the Lady of Rage Afro Puffs beat was his beat, and that Corrupt wrote his rhyme for him. And then he literally goes into the rhyme and does it, like, and still knows it. But at the time, he said, you know, I was still in league and doing a lot of stuff with Pepsi, and I couldn't be like associated with Death Row Records, so we just kind of shelved it. But he's like, no, that's my song. And like, he still knows the bars to it.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there like, dude, you were on Death Row. You were on Death Row Records? How did the world not know this?
Wow. Yeah, you put that out again right now, it'll go re-viral.
Yeah, I mean, it is, it's only like maybe 2 or 3 minutes long, but it's him telling the story like, yeah, they came to Atlanta. We worked on the beat, Daz and Corrupt, you know, they wrote my rhyme for me. And then he just went into his part.
Wow.
And when you play the beat with his, it's like, it's perfect.
That is wild.
He's amazing, man.
No, and like he has, as you guys are around him more, you'll see he has a lot of stories we don't air.
Imagine.
That are just as funny. But that, I think that's my number one, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like you were on Death Row Records and then you prove it with the rhyme?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also cool going back, at least for me, like I'll go back and look at some of the old videos that I thought were like really great back then. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, I was not as good as I thought I was back then. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I got so much better.
Yeah, I love that growth too. I do the same thing, man. I'm fist bumping on that
Yeah.
one. Because you thought you were killing it. And it's like, oh my God, look at that lighting.
Yes.
Yeah, and so, but there's a lot of good stuff out there. One of the things that I think this fan base is going to enjoy is his pregame speeches. And, you know, we were allowed in the locker room to covering all of those. And I really can't pick a favorite because they're all killer. Mm-hmm. And they're just kind of spontaneous, you know. He may know where I'm going to end up with the punchline, you know, the theme for this game or this victory. But his route to get there, after Coach Hart's, you know, speech, then he comes up. Some of those have been pretty good. And Colorado gets new theme music, which I know what it is, but I'm not telling you. I know what it is. I know the song. But it's new theme music.
Can you tell us when we might know?
You know, here's when I think you will. I think it's going to be a spring game thing. And the reason I say that is when he introduced his theme song to Jackson State the second year, it was during the spring game.
All right.
Yeah, because the spring game really sets the tone for the fall season. And so if it's anything like that, he introduced it at the spring game at Jackson State. And so he already has it picked, you know, and it's going to be nice. Yeah.
We'll be ready.
I hear the band is even working on it.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if Ralphie is going to run on beat to it or not, but I think the Ralphie videos I've seen, she kind of does her own thing at some point, you know.
Yeah, she's a wild beast after all.
Like literally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got anything else, man? I mean, this has been great.
Yeah, this has been amazing. I want to make sure that anyone watching this, if you haven't already, which you probably have, but you got to subscribe to the Pregame Show, 2 E's, and check it out because there's so much awesome stuff on there, and I'm excited for them to see that if they haven't yet. I'm excited for us to continue to collaborate.
Man, we're going to collaborate some more and then some. I've been an honor to be here. This ain't the last time.
No, because we're gonna get you. We'll get you down there to the bar and studio.
Yeah, and then when we get the studio space created here, get you guys here more and more. You know, because I think I told you guys this. I knew y'all before I knew y'all. Mm-hmm. You know, I was given this sheet by Rick George's office of media folks I need to know. You know,
Thanks,
and
Rick.
they had like this mafia diagram. You know, this kind of bar chart. Yeah, like. You know, okay, this guy does this, these guys do that, this guys do this. Okay. And then y'all were in that meeting, you know, in this room, you know, which didn't look like this.
Yep.
You know, and here we are now. So more to come, man.
Yes, sir. Can't wait. Keep it tuned here at the DNVR Sports. Neely, it's been absolutely incredible, man. Can't wait to do even more content. Can't wait to see what Coach Prime brings to us this season, man.
Yeah, he's going to bring a lot. Like he might walk back through the door.
We'll see.
Let's go Buffs.
Let's go, Buffs.